Welcome everybody. Today we are doing a little bit of an experiment. I give myself one day to play as much M+ as I can and to push the key and the rating on my Guardian Druid as high as possible. I'm really interested in which Keystone level that I can manage to do and which rating I end up on at the end of the day. There's no plan to it, just playing my own key, pugging and having fun and see what happens. So now that you're here, lean back and hopefully you'll enjoy the ride as much as I did. So as you can see here, we are starting at around 2900 rating and we are already starting with a bit of Saran plus 17. So the plus 17 is already quite high, but since Bear has been buffed so much and seems to be kind of overpowered right now, maybe we can go higher. Maybe we can go to 19s, maybe 20s even. So for the first dungeon, I decided I want to try a little bit of a comfort pick, so to say. So we're playing pretty much a meta comp right now with me, the Guardian Druid as tank, an Unholy DK, an Augmentation Invoker, Demonology Warlock, and a Restoration Shaman as a healer. And as you can already see, I gathered the first pool up with bark skin, used my CDs, and pretty much started blasting. I fat fingered here my bear form once, and even that didn't kill me, so I guess that's good for me there. Otherwise this would have been really embarrassing and a really early deplete. Here again, fat fingering my bear form, still getting lucky as to not deplete my first key of the day immediately, which to be honest would have been kind of sad but also kind of really funny. Doing an experiment how high one can push a key and immediately depleting the first one. A little bit further down into the dungeon, now we are nearly at the first boss. We've managed to free 4 out of the 6 quarry camps. But as you can see here, the pool starts to go a little bit south. Our shaman was grabbed by a gargoyle and then he got frontaled by the big proto-drake, which then in turns leads to the augmentation evoker dying. But fortunately for us, I'm a big bear and I played it right as it was really OP last week, so I pretty much do not care that we don't have a healer. I'm just vibing, pushing my buttons, using health stones, and by buttons I mean Moonfire, Thresh, Ironfur, Frenzied Region, my Def CDs, you know, all those big important buttons that a bear druid has. But here you can see our augmentation evoker is already back and our shaman got grabbed again by the gargoyle. Fortunately for us, this time they did not die. But yeah, all in all it was a really scuffed pull. It was bringing a lot of chaos into this run, but we still managed to overcome it. So, and the first boss also went down pretty smooth. Nothing major happened there. No deaths, no missteps, just, yeah, clean play. So right now I think we are still good in time, but I'm not entirely sure yet, because I don't have the timer on the top of my head. But as you can see here from the add-on, we are 1 minute and 40 seconds behind my personal best run of Bit of Sauron. So with 10 seconds left and the boss being at like 25% health, it comes to no surprise that unfortunately, and as I mentioned in the beginning, we do actually deplete our first key of the day when we try to push our key as high as possible. So how would you say we're pushing in a negative direction? So after the first deplete of the day, we are in 16 Argathar Academy. And I've been really looking forward to this dungeon, tanking it on my bear at this day, because I've heard after the buffs some pretty nice stuff about bear tanks who are able to do amazing damage numbers on this pull. Here I'm at like 450k DPS, maybe even reaching the 500k DPS mark for a very short term. And yeah, it's actually so funny how this pull then turns out as a bear druid. You can't reset stacks by being a dwarf, so you need to have either enough damage in the group to kill the Vile Lashers on time, or you just kite it out. But with this new buffed bear, it seems pretty easy and like not really that big of a deal to tank this first pull, even if you've never done it before on a bear tank. Just spam Moonfire, Thresh, and you're good to go. Now, unfortunately, the timer is not looking so good anymore, so we kind of have to try to make up for it and doing a little bit more bigger pulls. Unfortunately, as you can see here, one of those corrupted elementals is got stuck in the wall and is always snapping myself onto it, and this is also cascading because we can't interrupt it, and now I'm starting to lose aggro because of an unknown reason for me. Maybe because the mob is evading and then the whole group is evading. I don't know. But as you can see here, we wipe and we deplete the second key in a row, which, to be honest, is not a great start when we try to push one key for the whole day, and we're going very steep in the wrong direction. Fortunately for our group, or for the other people involved, our warlock had the same key, 16 Academy, and so we just decided to retry it again, same people. And as you can see now, it went much smoother, and I'm happy that I could help out those other people time the 16 key, and the people wanted me to tank the key for them, even though the last try was kind of scuffed. But yeah, that's how it is sometimes, you know, people make mistake, and that's just how it is. So the fourth key of the day, and we continue with my own, is then a 15 Windrunner Spire. It's not 15 Algathar Academy anymore because I re-rolled it after we timed the key of the Warlock in the last group. We're trying now a different composition with a Rogue, Elemental Shaman, Shadow Priest and a Holy Priest. But yeah, I have the feeling that 15 and 16 keys are kind of easy to time, so this should pose no problem for this group in any way, shape or form. But as you have already seen, stuff can happen and mobs can evade and reset aggro with no particular reason. So we just hope for the best in this Windrunner Spire, so we can at least get our first timed key on the board. Well, the first key of my own that we've timed on the board. In the end, everything went smooth for the rest of the dungeon. We had a couple of deaths here and there, but all in all we timed it pretty solidly with 3 minutes left. So this is now my first timed key on the board of the day. But as you can see, I'm still below the 3k score rating because this one did give me 0 score. The next one in the list is then my 16 Magister's Terrace. I do really like playing with shamans, so I asked the shaman from the Windrunner Spire if they wanted to do another run, and they agreed to it. So here we go. Otherwise we have now a Monk Heal, an Arms Worry and a Demonology Warlock for the skip in the end of the dungeon. So I've been tanking this boss at the edge pretty much every season long, but as you can see we failed a little bit and did not soak all of the balls running into the boss. So now he has the buff and deals extra damage, I think with everything that he does. So this doesn't look too good now for the group, and let's see if we can manage to still time it and still kill the boss, because now we don't have Bloodlust anymore. But yeah, as you can see, nearly with every repulsing slam the boss one-shots me, which I didn't really realize at the moment. Otherwise I could have used more CDs. But yeah, I didn't really get that the boss deals more damage when he soaks an orb. And here you can see that the shaman also stacked on myself when I was soaking the orbs, which is also not great. Yeah, and now the boss killed me. I had bark skin up, so I could have used that, but I don't know if I would have survived it. Probably though. So in the end we didn't need the Warlock for the skip because we didn't come to the last part of the dungeon. The Warlock then decided I talked with the Warlock and he wanted to stay in the group, and initially we wanted to do his plus 16 key, but I mistakenly put in my depleted plus 15 key of Magistus Terrace, which fortunately we two-chested now with a DK and an enhancement shaman in the group and a discipline priest as a healer. But as I initially said that the Warlock had his key on 16, we just reran it and we timed this plus 16 as well, which finally pushed me over the 3k scoreline. And now we're back in Academy 17. Let's go first pull again, and I'm showing those other people in my group what a bear druid can really pump out of damage numbers. Here you can see I'm 400 KDPS, 450, 480, 500, 560, nearly 600k, nearly 700k DPS, which is it just feels so good to play. It's very easy, but it still feels so good in such big pulls. And as you can see here in the plus 17, I'm like, for most of the pull, I'm the second highest damage dealer of the group. But these dungeons are still new to me as a bear tank, because I just recently began playing it, and you can see that here. I used my defensive far too late, and those axes just slapped me so hard. So now we're back in the 16, same group, except now we've switched the Demon Hunter with DK. First pull again, we can see we can try it out, because I just really like to play the first pull to get a little bit more exercise with it, just to know how it feels on the bear, when to kite, how to kite properly, stuff like that, such that when I do eventually play higher keys in Algathor Academy, that I'm used to this first pull and gathering it up and everything. Lucky for us, we ran through the dungeon with no major issues in comparison to the plus 17 that we've just did. So fortunately we timed it with a lot of spare time. As you can see, the boss is nearly dead and we have like 5 minutes left of the dungeon timer. And if you want to see how we continue today, because right now it is time for lunch, you have to wait a bit and then turn in for part 2 to see if we can get higher than 17 keys, if we time our first 18 keys on the druid, and how much score we end up with. Up until now we've not done too much. We gained like around 100 points or so, but yeah, there's still much potential here in this druid, and I will see you next time.